I'm going to retire from boxing before I let boxing retire me.
That I'm not comfortable with. You know, I had a great career. You know, I've done some tremendous things in the sport of boxing. I made a lot of history. You know, what can I not be proud of if I walked away from the sport right now? You know, I don't have no regrets because everything that I did it my way. So if I was to walk away from the sport right now.
Terence "Bud" Crawford has officially walked away from boxing. After months of mounting tension, lawsuits, and a public war with the WBC, the undefeated, undisputed pound-for-pound king has stepped away from the sport that made him a legend.
Retire, Bud. Retire, Bud. It's over. You ain't got nothing else to prove. Let's go fishing, Bud. Let's go fishing, Bud. Retire. Yeah. It's over with.
The same fighter who dominated 3 weight divisions, unified titles, and carried himself with quiet authority is now done. Retired. Stripped of his belt. Accused of contract breaches. Questioned by legends. Crawford says the sport he gave everything to, the one he bled for, finally broke him. So what really happened behind the scenes? What pushed one of the greatest fighters of this generation to walk away not in defeat, but in defiance? This is the real story behind Terence Crawford's shocking exit, a story of power, betrayal, and principle that has shaken boxing to its core.
I always said that I'm going to retire on my own terms, and I'm going to feel good because everything that I did it my way.
It all started with a stunning announcement. On December 3, 2025, the WBC officially stripped Terence Crawford of his super middleweight world title. The decision sent shockwaves across the boxing world. The reason? Crawford refused to pay sanctioning fees for his last 2 fights, including his blockbuster $50 million showdown with Canelo Alvarez.
He never paid the sanction fees for that fight. His next fight was Canelo Alvarez. He fought for the WBC title as well as the other 3 organizations, and he won the WBC title and the undisputed. He became undisputed, and he did not pay the sanction fees for the fight.
Just like that, the man who conquered boxing lost his crown. His undisputed status vanished. His title revoked. His relationship with the WBC destroyed beyond repair. But as dramatic as it looked, insiders say this wasn't sudden. This clash had been building for years.
He did not comply with the rules. Then he moves up to super middle and makes the fight of the century, beats Canelo, makes $50 million or around that. The WBC absolutely is not going to charge 3% of such an amount. We made a very clear 0.6%, which is $300,000.
Behind the headlines, Crawford's frustration had been boiling, fueled by broken promises, backstage politics, and a system that often punishes the fighters who carry it. He wasn't just fighting opponents anymore. He was fighting boxing itself. Even before the WBC fallout, Crawford was already locked in another battle, this one in court. A lawsuit against one of the most powerful men in the sport, promoter Bob Arum and Top Rank. Crawford accused Arum of breach of contract, fraud, and racial bias.
I wanted to give a real quick snippet of what I just found out. So Terence "Bud" Crawford just filed a lawsuit against Top Rank and Bob Arum, claiming racism and bias against black fighters.
According to Crawford, Top Rank promised to secure a unification bout with Errol Spence Jr., a fight fans demanded, but failed to deliver. He claimed that in 2019, an agreement guaranteed him $900,000 if a good faith offer wasn't made by the end of 2020. That payment never came. Instead, Crawford was left frozen out while other stars were prioritized. Then came the most explosive claim. Crawford alleged Arum made repeated racist and bigoted statements that harmed black fighters, including himself.
Terence Crawford is actually asking for $10 million in damages. He's basically stating that none of the fighters want to speak up. They don't want to say anything.
Arum fired back aggressively, calling the lawsuit reckless and defamatory. He said Crawford's claims were vile and accused him of attempting extortion. That legal battle marked a turning point. A line was drawn. Crawford left Top Rank soon after, determined to control his own destiny. But instead of freedom, he walked straight into another storm when the WBC stripped him of his title. Crawford didn't stay quiet. He went nuclear.
For sanction fees, right? They ain't gonna tell me I ain't even apologize. Like, who the fuck you think I am? Boy, you better slap your fucking self and paying your ass shit.
In an 8-minute viral video that set social media on fire, Crawford unloaded on the WBC. He called their belts meaningless trophies and accused the organization of pure greed. His words were raw and emotional, loaded with years of frustration. You got the green belt, it don't mean nothing. The real belt is the ring belt. Take that belt. It's just a trophy anyway. That single statement sent shockwaves through boxing.
You, the WBC, and you got the fucking green belt, which don't mean fucking shit. The fucking real belt is the ring belt, which is free, motherfucker. What are you talking about? You want me to pay you more than the other sanction bodies because you feel like you better than them. How in the world all the sanction bodies agreed to the same amount, but you sit your motherfucking ass up there and say that I need to apologize to?
Some fans praised him for finally exposing the system. Others saw it as a meltdown, a legend damaging his own legacy. Even Errol Spence Jr., Crawford's longtime rival, weighed in on the situation.
I mean, it makes sense, but I mean, I think he should have talked about it, you know, before, because now he's talking about it when he don't need the WBC anymore. And he should have talked about it, you know, way back when I said something, he should have spoke up and said something about it too, you know, so I don't know, man. It is what it is.
It makes sense, Spence said. But now he's talking when he doesn't need the WBC anymore. He should have said this back when it mattered. To some, Crawford sounded bitter. To others, he sounded liberated. One thing was clear, he was done playing by boxing's rules. Then the next generation spoke up. Rising star Keyshawn Davis publicly backed Crawford.
I always say I never understand why we become champion have to pay for a belt. Keep that shit. Keep it. I'm not gonna work 14, 15 years for me to pay for something I worked for. When I went to the Olympics, did I pay for that damn medal? No.
Davis echoed what many fighters have whispered for years. I never understood why you become champion and have to pay for a belt, he said. Keep it. When I went to the Olympics, I didn't pay for my medal. His words struck a nerve. Fighters grind their entire lives to reach the top, only to be handed a bill for what they earned.
If I walk into this arena without this belt, is these people still gonna show up? Yes. So keep the belt. You're not gonna take my money. With all due respect, you know what I'm saying? I just feel like, so I agree with Terence, you know what I'm saying? But I just don't agree with paying for belts. That's why, for all the sanctioning bodies, you know what I'm saying? And I told this to the one that I was under, the WBO. I told him to, I said, I don't really believe in that. And he explained why, and I was like, okay, but I still don't agree with it. You know what I mean? So like, I'm always gonna be like for not paying for belts, because what the fuck are we paying?
If I walk into the arena without the belt, people are still coming, Davis added. So why should I pay for it? To younger fighters, Crawford wasn't quitting. He was standing up. He was challenging sacred institutions head-on. But the establishment wasn't going to stay silent. WBC President Mauricio Suleiman responded carefully, but the tension was obvious.
With $225,000 going to the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which is to help former fighters in need. And it is just regrettable. Not even a thank you or I'm sorry, taking a different route, no response. I wish him the best. But this is not. The WBC is huge, it's great, it's about greatness, and I'm relieved to tell you.
I'm not going to get into a pissing contest with Terence Crawford, Suleiman said. We care for boxers and wish him success. He claimed sanctioning fees support the Jose Sulaiman Boxers Fund, which helps retired fighters. But many fans weren't convinced. Veteran ring announcer Jimmy Lennon Jr. called the situation ugly and unfortunate.
I think, like Mauricio, I'm going to take a high road, but I will say it's unfortunate for the sport of boxing. I think talking about money too much, and it is not the high road. And so we've seen some kind of ugly and not so pretty things, exchanges happen here. And so it's unfortunate, but it is a reality. I think there's some things behind the scenes that I have heard about that aren't necessarily public yet.
Talking about money publicly isn't the high road, Lennon said, noting that these conflicts usually stay behind closed doors. But behind the polished statements was real fear that Crawford's rebellion could spark a wider movement. Then came an unexpected voice, rapper Cameron, whose take went viral.
To be honest with you, he brought a lot of light that I didn't know about when it came to the sanctioning fees. And it seems like one big extortion game. I've seen Floyd say it before, belts collect dust, the money is what really matters. So as long as he gets his money and everything else, I think we already know he's a perennial world champion, probably the pound-for-pound champion right now.
Cameron didn't hold back. He called sanctioning fees one big extortion game, and referenced Floyd Mayweather's long-standing stance that belts collect dust, money matters. He reminded fans Crawford is 42-0, one of the greatest ever, and no organization can erase that. Crawford, he said, didn't lose anything. He exposed the system. The comments exploded across social media and sports talk. For the first time, fans weren't questioning fighters, they were questioning boxing itself. Then UFC President Dana White weighed in.
If you look at how this thing's playing out, and first of all, let me say this. I love that all these guys, all these boxing guys, love the Ali Act the way it is now. I want to see how many of them actually stay there and do that version of the Ali Act instead of the add-on that we're going to do.
Dana White was blunt. You don't need to be a rocket scientist to see what's going on, he said. The people yelling the loudest are the problem. Crawford's his own man. Let's see how it plays out.
You know what I mean? You don't have to be a fucking rocket scientist to see what's going on with all these guys. They're all these guys that are crying the loudest are the fucking problems. They're the problem, every one of these guys.